and welcome to MoonMistJourneys. My name is Carly, and today I am here to bring forth a channeled message as a part 2 to my previous video describing the confusing twin flame journey involving a jumper divine counterpart. I was called to make this part 2 video in response to the high interest in the information and the request to delve a little bit deeper into the topics I had mentioned, as this information is rarely discussed and not fully understood or even acknowledged by the speakers and the teachers on the topic of twin flames. So if you have not yet watched the part 1 to this video, I definitely recommend that you go and watch that video first and then come back to this one. I will have that video linked down below in the description box. If you enjoy this message, please support the channel with a like and a subscribe if you have not. This will help my channel grow so that these messages and the healings that I offer can reach all of those who may need them. I will also have my PayPal and Venmo in the description box if you feel guided to support the channel in that way. Donations are always greatly appreciated, and whoever donates, I include your name in a daily prayer where I call in protection, healing, and light code activations for you. I sincerely thank you all for your continued support. It really does just mean so much to me, and I am so grateful for each and every one of you here. Now, these topics I am about to discuss with you all are based on a twin flame contract that is very unique. I can say with 100% certainty that not all twin flames will relate to or even understand what I'm about to describe. So please remember to use your discernment when listening to this message. If anything that I say here just doesn't sound right for you or makes you feel uncomfortable in any way, then this simply isn't your situation and not your message. For those of you who do resonate with this message, I do believe that you will feel a deep and strong resonance and will feel a sense of confirmation and inner peace in response to what I share here. Before I begin, I would like to create a sacred space for us to gather for these messages with a quick prayer. Waya Nin Nin, Divine Mother, I am here, fully present in this moment. I am open and willing to be used as a channel for the highest and greatest good for all. I am grateful for the clarity, protection, and divine inspiration you bless me with, that I may be a beacon of light, a bringer of love, healing, and truth for all of those who may cross my path. Waya Nin Nin. Okay guys, so in part 1 of this message, I discussed the very unique twin flame dynamic of what we will call the jumping or the jumper divine counterpart. My intention here is to bring a bit more clarity and understanding of what this actually is and a little bit about how it works. Now, typically, a twin flame pair, a divine masculine and a divine feminine, incarnate together to share a lifetime together or apart while serving as one another's catalysts or bridges to spiritual advancement and healing before ultimately achieving harmonious union. Throughout their journey, they may encounter other quote-unquote catalysts, false flames, or other types of soulmates along the way. But what they share in their twin flame connection is something dramatically different to what they will experience within these other types of situations. To encounter a twin flame is to encounter magic. This connection is more than simply a soul recognition, more than an attraction or a desire or an attachment. It is easy for a person to confuse a soulmate for a twin flame because the magnetic pull and attachment to a soulmate can feel undeniable. But once you actually encounter a true twin flame, you understand that you have just encountered something otherworldly and significantly different than a soulmate encounter. As someone who has encountered both myself, I can tell you from experience that the love I have felt for a soulmate was true. It was intense. It was all-encompassing, and it was and always will be everlasting. But understand also that as much love that I have had for my soulmates, the more that I began to actually love myself, the more that I felt the need to love them at a distance. If your increased self-love calls you to distance from someone that you love, then more than likely you have encountered a soulmate. In a twin flame dynamic, the more self-love that you embody, the closer you will feel to your twin, regardless of physical separation or closeness. This is a key difference to keep in mind. Now, when you do encounter a twin flame, you will know it without a shadow of a doubt. You will sense a magic that you cannot describe or understand. Your world will literally stop. A common experience I have heard from nearly every twin flame couple is that upon first seeing their twin, whether in person or even through a photo, was that for a moment, anywhere from a few minutes to significantly longer than a few, that they actually froze. Like, upon seeing this person, their body went into an almost shock state where they didn't understand the inner reaction they were having. And they had this inability to pull their eyes away, almost out of curiosity as to what they were feeling or why, and a magnetism so strong and combined with an almost ecstasy-like sensation. For twins who first meet in person, I have heard of what is commonly referred to as the bubble effect, where your surroundings seem to brighten up in a way you have never experienced, like the light that naturally surrounding you has been on a low dimmer for your entire life, and suddenly it's cranked all the way up. All logical thought ceases, and like an animal during a hunt, everything surrounding you sort of blurs out of focus except for that person. You are uncontrollably, energetically in awe. And then when you do break eye contact, you notice your ability to see a new detail and dimension to everything that surrounds you. Some people describe it to being like high on a drug that doesn't exist. Others feel it as a feeling of having like a newfound superpower. This is a truly unforgettable and incomparable experience to anything else that you may ever experience. The only somewhat comparable experience I have personally ever energetically had communicated to me and also experienced is some parents' experience when looking upon their new baby for the first time. Even still, though, not to the intensity that I just previously described, but it is the closest comparison that I know of. Now, there are many other twin flame symptoms I could get into, but for the sake of this video, I won't go into them all, but I did want to share this one in particular to paint the understanding of the vast, incomparable, energetic difference between a twin flame and a soulmate, to help clarify the misconception that when I refer to the twin flame in the following discussion, I am not simply confusing a soulmate connection for a twin. Anyone who has experienced what I am describing will understand that there is no confusing the two. I also want to add that not all twin flames have this exact experience that I just described, but they will have another similar in intensity and definitely significantly different than anything previously experienced or even thought to be humanly possible. Simply put, this is more than just falling in love. I am also aware that false flame encounters can mirror these mystical experiences, but with a distinct difference in that they are always accompanied by a strong instinctual knowing of something being off or wrong or not quite right, and usually has a lingering vibe of evil or darkness that can be sensed. Again, if you've encountered a false flame, you know it. So I will suffice to say that if you have ever encountered a twin flame, you will never again confuse your soulmate connections for a twin flame one. So, as I had already mentioned, the typical twin flame dynamic involves two humans born who share in the identical soul signature. One typically embodying the masculine polarity, the other the feminine, but more accurately, each individual embodies a combination of the two polarities, when together balance out perfectly. Usually, one will embody one of them more prominently, but often the twins are a nice combination of the two energies and can actually be mutable, but they always balance. Anyway, the soul is usually born into only two bodies. Your twin and you are essentially one soul, but you are experiencing two incarnations simultaneously in the same time-space reality, which is the reason for the telepathic bond. You are the same soul, so as your twin is experiencing their life and incarnation, you on a soul level is experiencing it too. And it is possible for you to tune into their experience in real time. The twins are one soul, having two simultaneous incarnations that together hold a balanced yin-yang energy. Twins in separation are literally experiencing a soul fragmentation when apart, which is the longing a twin will describe before knowing of their twin, for quite literally a part of themselves is missing from them. A unique aspect of twin souls is that they are not vibrationally the same as a typical human soul. Twin souls are from higher vibrational dimensions and come to Earth as volunteers to assist the humanity population by agreeing to incarnate into the human Earth experience of reincarnation here and the wheel of karma that the typical human souls are in. They were not souls born intentionally by the Creator, strictly for this human experience, like the majority of humans on this planet. Therefore, the light and vibration of a twin flame soul would be too strong for a human body to hold. So the twins opted to come here in halves so that the human vessel could, quote unquote, handle it. So for a human soul, they can be fully housed in one human body. A twin flame could not. The human vessel is upgrading at this current time to be able to hold more light, but it isn't yet quite at the place where it could house a full, unfragmented twin soul. Now, I will briefly introduce the term soul fragmentation for those of you who aren't familiar with it. So, parts of our souls can and sometimes do fragment, separate as a defense mechanism. They separate and leave the vessel, the body, the home. As a result, the body will experience an emptiness of sorts, which can manifest as an illness or just an unwellness, because literally a part of themselves, a part of their power that is their soul, that is their essence, is missing. You can compare this now, if you are a twin, to that empty feeling when you are in separation from your twin. It feels like you're missing a part of yourself, even before you ever knew what a twin flame was or the term. And that's because you literally are missing a half of your soul, which is what contributes to the emptiness and the longing to find whatever it is throughout their lives that's missing from them. I bring this up to demonstrate the ability of a human soul to have aspects and is never really only a singularity. It is multidimensional in that it can be separated and existing in more than one place at a time. Another way to describe this is through a teaching that I learned from a man called Lomakayu, who founded Medicine of One, and whose YouTube channel and website I will link below. He spoke of the soul and described it as a handful of stones, each individual in their separate aspects from the other, and individually they make no sound. They cannot be felt by the human as an experience. But when this group, this handful of stones, is inside of a rattle and is shaken, these stones together, moving in unison in a single vessel, create a sound. They become an entity that can be felt and experienced through the vibration that you feel when you hear that shake, that noise. Our soul is the same. We are a combination of individual aspects when together in this human vessel can be felt, can be experienced, can have an experience. Our souls are and never have been a singular thing. Now, I'm sharing these teachings to help you understand that when people speak on twin flames as only two humans, now I'm sharing these teachings to help you understand that when people speak on twin flames as only being two humans, or rather they say you can only have one twin flame. Throughout the understanding of the soul as individual aspects combined together and not a singular in and of itself, you can begin to understand how claiming that it is only possible to have one twin flame counterpart is a limiting statement and claim to profess as the ultimate truth. Now, I want for you to ponder another idea. So, generally, we all can agree that when a human being gets, you could say, consumed by evil, okay? This becomes something that we can visibly see. We can see that the vessel, although it was born with a soul as a baby, it was able to be overtaken by something evil, okay? The evil entity or aspect took homage in the human body as a result of this human being open enough for it. And this evil aspect is now running the show, okay? Now, the same can be said when you witness a human being overtaken by what they call the Holy Spirit. An aspect of God, a holy, high vibrational soul aspect, enters the body and temporarily runs the show. This is what you witness occurring in any prophets or prophetesses, even preachers. A higher self or higher knowing soul, right, takes over, runs the show, and shares information that the human self does not necessarily know or would say. Okay, this is exactly what occurs in the twin flame jumping dynamic. In this specific and unique twin flame dynamic, you and your twin soul were not both incarnated into a body. Either one, or in some cases, both of you, did not incarnate, but agreed to incarnate with an already incarnated soul in a body at a predetermined time based upon a multitude of factors and possibilities. Basically, just as the examples I spoke about, how the Holy Spirit or an evil spirit can take over temporarily and run the show, and when looking at this person who was taken over by such a spirit, such an aspect, you can recognize as visually being a visibly different being than before. This is the same thing that happens with the human soul-body agreement with a twin flame soul and its timely jump or merge. When I described in my last video your ability to literally recognize your twin in the eyes of different bodies, this is what I was talking about. Just as you can recognize evil in the eyes of a human taken over by a demonic entity, or the love and divinity of a person overtaken by the Holy Spirit, a twin flame can recognize, visibly see their twin soul, their own soul, in a human taken over by their essence. And just as easily as a demonic entity or the Holy Spirit can leave a human body, so can the twin soul leave on demand. You will find this same idea described in the concept of soul swapping. If you have never heard of this concept, I suggest looking into it, and I will definitely do another video on the subject. But quickly, I will go over some information on soul swapping for the sake of this video. So basically, there are unlimited reasons for a soul swap. I highly recommend reading Dolores Cannon's 5 Lives Remembered for a more detailed account of one soul swap required situation. But yeah, for any different number of reasons, souls' higher selves can agree to a soul swap or a higher self integration. Both can be, but are not always the same, but very similar and work the same way. You can read up on people's accounts of describing what can be called a soul swap. Most often, you'll find information of people who experience this during near-death experiences, where they wake up feeling like someone else completely. Sometimes our souls experience something so traumatic that we fragment. If enough of our soul is traumatized and leaves the vessel, we die, okay? The shaman understands illness as being a result of soul fragmentation. The more of a soul that is fragmented and hiding or stuck or wherever it is outside of the body, the more sick the person, the human, is. And if we fragment too much, we die. If we fragment not too much, we may just experience illness, physical or mental, until our soul aspect feels safe enough to return through a multitude of healing practices and whatnot, or gets returned with the aid of a practitioner who mends the soul on the person's behalf. Sometimes a human soul has fragmented throughout lifetimes, and occasionally there are situations where the soul needs to rest, needs to be mended, and that's not going to happen on the earthly plane. So what happens is another soul takes over in a divine agreement, while the original soul can rest a little bit or get mended in the spiritual realm, while this higher soul aspect runs the show. It's almost like a cheat code where that soul can temporarily leave the cycle of reincarnation to be mended and made whole again, to claim its power back. As in the example that I had mentioned from the Dolores Cannon book, 5 Lives Remembered. But it doesn't have to be this extreme either. Sometimes it's known before incarnation that a soul's life will be particularly difficult and cause much fragmentation. So 2 souls pre-agree that a higher soul, non-incarnated, or soul aspect will take over, or even sometimes work in tandem, work as a team with the weakened or sometimes just younger soul to assist them along their incarnation. And this is always for the benefit of the soul's advancement, which is usually the case for our twin flame souls who choose not to incarnate, but to assist other souls' advancement during difficult incarnations, or agreed to team up. You could say, make an upgraded rattle by adding more stones in a human body that is housing the soul it was born with for a time or even a lifetime in a mutually beneficial way for all involved. When I describe the situation of the twin flame where only one of you incarnated, the other twin pre-agreed for you to experience them during your lifetime, during the moments of time that they were actively soul swapped or soul teamed up with one or more of your soulmates into the soulmate that was a vibrational match to you. Your twin does not have their own body to vibrationally ascend in with you or go on this journey with you. And this was because you chose such a difficult incarnation that it was highly unlikely for you to ascend as high as possible. So this situation here was the only way to guarantee union for you, regardless of the vibration that you stayed at and not dependent on another's free will. Think of this as a promise from God. You will go live a very difficult incarnation where you will have the opportunity to heal your own accrued karma, but you will also heal ancestral and collective karma as a highly evolved soul, a twin. You will have this capability to take on such a mission. This mission, however, is so difficult that as a reward, you will still be able to have your twin flame, even if you get stuck in a lower vibration. You will not be required to fully ascend to your highest potential, but will also hold that potential to do so, determined only by you and your free will. And it will not be dependent on another human and their free will choices. In a typical twin flame dynamic, the both of you have to reach a certain vibration for harmonious union. If one is on a lower vibration and the other is on a higher vibration, the two twins cannot come into union. So this situation here, again, I'll reference to a cheat code, because that being dependent upon both two humans' journeys and free will choices leaves a lot of room for union never happening. In this situation, your twin was not bound to a single difficult incarnation, because in that case, union would have only been a slimmer possibility. You chose to serve humanity by incarnating into a physical vessel and having a difficult incarnation, but doing a lot of work here physically to serve humanity by clearing karma, ancestral traumas, things like that. Your twin chose to serve humanity in another way, to assist other human souls on the spiritual plane by merging with and assisting their advancement on the inside, while you are assisting humanity on the outside by being an incarnated player, you could say. Your twin would stay or go from one of your soulmates' bodies, depending upon both you and the soulmate's free will choices to ascend. So your counterpart could actually be with you on your journey, the entire journey, wherever you ended up, whichever timeline you chose to stay or ascend to. And your counterpart is free from the limitations of being bound to a body that may get stuck in a different vibration from you, and therefore not have the possibility of union with you as a result of free will, leaving you both without achieving union. The twins that I was picking up on in the first video were, as I said, promised union with their twin flame. And that promise is possible because of our multidimensional soul's ability to do exactly what I have been describing. As I stated in the last video, you did experience the twin flame journey, the symptoms, the runner-chaser, the whole thing, just not with only one person, as is typical. Yes, you only have one twin, but that one twin jumped with consent to do so, and for the highest good of all involved, into soulmates of yours bodies who were at a vibrational match to you. It was a team effort on behalf of your twin and the soulmates. These situations are always of benefit to and for the advancement of all involved. When your twin's essence left the soulmate vessel, the soulmate is still there, okay? And that bond is still there. It's even quite possible that you had flashes of past lives with this soulmate, and that added to more, of the confusion of, but this felt like my twin, all of this. Well, because our bonds with our soulmates are already intense and magical in and of themselves. But your twin's essence for a time was merged with the soulmate, okay? And yeah, like I was saying, when your twin soulmate, When your twin's essence left the soulmate vessel, the soulmate is still there, and the soulmate fully experienced what you shared together in this life. But the true twin essence is no longer inside of them, is no longer running the show. The twin essence is within the soulmate that is a current energetic match to you, and the one twin flame you have here on your current timeline. So I really want to voice to my collective to never allow anyone else to discourage you by them assuming that they know more about your experiences than you do. As you can see here, our experiences are all so unique that only you can discern for you which information applies for you and what doesn't. So when people respond to your story by saying you can only have one twin flame, those were just soulmates, just understand that for them, that might be the truth of their situation and many other situations, but not necessarily your truth. These statements come from a limited perception. Creation and our multidimensionality is so powerful and so complex that to believe that we know it all in regards to anything would be foolish. So above anything or anyone else, trust always what you feel inside to be true for you, and don't allow anyone to discourage or discredit what you know to be true in your heart. At every level of spirituality, humans will believe and profess that they know the truth, that they have all the facts, and anything that threatens their sense of identity or belief system will get labeled as crazy nonsense. New Agers and beyond are not immune to the same human fallacies, to believing that they have it all figured out. We need to always be open to accepting that we don't and cannot possibly know all that there is to know. God, Spirit, Creator, whatever you want to call the divine, is truly unlimited. And if you know that to be true, then you must also know that any and all things are possible. We will never know all that there is to know, but we are being granted access to more knowing as a result of our collective advancement. So always keep an open mind and heart, and know that expanded understanding can and will prove to make even contradictory statements both simultaneously true, as is the nature of contradictions, whenever observed from a higher perspective. We are in a time of collective spiritual development and advancement. More and more light workers are being granted increased spiritual gifts, and we will have access to new and higher information because, as I stated in my last video, we are now ready to hear it, and now at a vibrational level to be able to understand it. This information that I am sharing is only a small portion of the newer knowledge that will eventually become more accepted and better understood with time. So I know that this was a lot, guys, and I still feel like I have so much more to say and add here. So I will definitely make more videos like this where I will go into other dynamics at play in some twin flame journeys. The specifics that I described here were only some of the possibilities, okay? Only a small portion of you guys experienced this specific dynamic as I described, but I chose this dynamic to go into to bring forth the highest understanding in a way that most of you could connect with. But yeah, there are many, many different dynamics, like such as triplet, quadruplet flames, things like that, which is different than the jumping twin that I described here, but that some of my collective tribe is currently experiencing, the multiples, the twin multiples, as well as situations where both twin counterparts came to Earth through a soul swap, soul share avenue. And some of your Earth bodies experienced a twin flame before your soul swap or soul share. And so you encountered the twin flame of the original first soul. And again, after the swap event, experienced the twin flame of the higher, more advanced soul within that body. Yeah, another very complex situation. So, yeah, I will also dive into some of the other topics that I had mentioned, such as soul fragmentation, soul retrieval, and other methods of soul repair and trauma healing. If you found this video to be helpful or insightful in any way, please be sure to like and share this video so that it can reach anyone who may need to hear it. Also, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and definitely share your thoughts with me in the comments. I have truly enjoyed all of your feedback and shared experiences, and it's because of your questions that I made this video, and I definitely want to continue to give you all the information that you are seeking. I want to thank you all for your continued support, and I am so excited to watch as this tribe continues to grow. If you would like to support this channel through a donation, I will have my PayPal and Venmo linked below, along with the other links of mentioned information. Donations are always very much appreciated and allow me to spend more of my time serving Spirit and providing you with these messages. For anyone who does donate, I add you to my notebook of names, which I include in my daily prayer of protection, healing, and light code activations for you. All right, my wonderful and beautiful tribe. Until next time, many blessings and take care.